experience is the best teacher. And ordinarily, age should confer wisdom. The cycle, either in a man's life or that of a country, even businesses, typically a cycle runs between 15 to 20 years. In some cases, depending on how you reckon, maybe from 10 to 15 years. But typically, our lives endure in seasons and cycles. And it is, as it is for human beings, so it is for countries and for businesses. The moment those who pretend to rule Nigeria but are in reality ruining Nigeria, the moment they attain power, the first thing that they focus on is retention of power because they have no program to do anything. So, since they have 4 years before they have to rinse and repeat the pretense of a democracy and the lies of an election, they now start with the narratives. One, he's moving the CBN to Lagos. And then the arguments begin, and the fools begins the argument. He's showing them, he's preparing them, it's our season, our local. He's bringing the CBN to Lagos. Yes, he's back in Yoruba land. Yes, he's in the south. And then you would have the likes of Ndume. They come on there and they'll tell you, we will show him that he cannot do such a thing. We are the ones who placed him in power, and he has to do our bidding. This is a plan to marginalize the North. And then, yabba-dabba-dibbo-dabba-dabba, people will begin to pitch tents. Nobody is asking questions about all the stealings that went down in the CBN. Nobody is talking about the Naira change that became DAI. Nobody's talking about that anymore. We're talking about they are moving Department of CBN to Lagos. How many of the keyboard warriors helping to shape these narratives have their friends, family ever recruited into CBN or married in the last 20 years? When did they ever advertise any job in CBN? The next thing you are hearing them telling you Aline Dume's daughter or somebody is working in CBN, and the department is being moved to Lagos. And then the fools and morons are busy arguing over the movement of the CBN. This is how they shape the narrative. Farcical gyrations, spiral. And it's such a horrible downward spiral that before you know what's going on, the country is unraveling as it's spiraling. The real issues are ignored, and we are given nonsense to talk about. Should we talk about the weaponization of hatred? How about that one? How about that one? Should we talk about the weaponization of hatred? The ethnicization of crime? Should we talk about that one? The reality of the matter is that we've entered a situation where the government is more desirous of shaping false narratives rather than attending to the problems that are pressing. I saw a tweet from the handle of the Nigerian army describing terrorists in Mangu local government as irate youth. Irate, quote and unquote, youth. These are people from whom they recovered machine guns. They took pot shots at officers of the Air Force. This was also contained in the tweet. And instead of properly calling them what they had, they're calling them irate youth. These are part of the spiral of idiocy. Security has collapsed completely. On Lagos Ibadan Expressway now, you can't travel free of the fear of kidnap. But we are describing terrorists as irate youth. And if we are not discussing that, we'll be talking about our Gomino, the party boy in Grenada. That is what we are asked to be discussing, instead of the real issues that shows very clearly that real income in the country has diminished to the point where everybody is almost entering multidimensional poverty, except you're a member of the reigning class who have no need to worry about money, because money is coming right out of their hairs. If they are not printing it, they are grabbing it, they are snatching it. But that does not concern them. What concerns them? What concerns them? All that concerns them is to rinse and repeat the cycles of absurdity. They need you to focus on what takes your mind off the issue so that you will not ask the questions. And if you look at each and every one of these things, you ask yourself, those who are appropriating the name of regions or of ethnicities, of ethnic nationalities in pursuit of their own narrow agenda, whether it is those who want to paint the lie that they are moving something to Lagos as some kind of victory for their Jagaban or Jaguda, I don't understand how that works, because the man who painted Obasanjo as a dictatorial evil man, not an undeserved toga, but specifically on the subject of his resistance, quote and unquote, to allowing the 37 LCDAs to become local government, is today sat in the presidency. Oh, I forget, he's on holiday. A private visit to France. Our president, quote and unquote, has become a francophone jet setter now. The same man who was suing the federal government in relation to his 37 LCDAs, would he be signing the bill that seeks to centralize and take control of local government away from federating units to the federal government? How do you explain the fact that in the First Republic between 1960, no, let me go back, between 1951 and 1966, local governments are creations of regions who create them essentially as centers of administration and points from which to take development to their people. How do we explain the fact that it was after the coup that this local government creation became the job of the military, federal military government, which then proceeded to create local government on the basis of land mass? Before the 1966 coup, the Western region had more local governments than the whole of Northern Nigeria, if not the whole of Nigeria combined. I can speak with exactitude to the fact that it had more local governments, probably double the number of local governments in the Northern region. Why? Because it was up to each region to create as many local governments as it cared to create, because local governments are creations of the federating unit. So is Jaguda now going to sign off on this eminently on federal legislation? They've stolen power because they are not in power for your interest. The country has entered a spiral of violence, ably enabled by the government and by the politicians, those who pretend to rule the country. They will make money from the problems that they have caused. They will make money from the ones that they are the ones that are stoking. Time will pass. More people will die. But they will continue these farcical gyrations. Fact of the matter is, these distractions are all they are. Focus. Do not be distracted. Demand to know what has happened with the education. Exactly what it is, or what is it that is happening with the CBN? Who is being held responsible? The Naira redesign thing, the fraud that is there, is it only a Emefiele? What about all the rest? That interests us. You can tell us about that. When are you probing Sirika publicly? That interests us. We'll be interested in knowing that. When are you going to stop demonizing one ethnic group to gain political traction? When? That is important. Let's talk about that. Stop weaponizing hatred, ethnic hatred. You're weaponizing it. It's dangerous. Well, let's talk about that. The entire collapse of the security architecture in the country at the time an irresponsible president would jet off on a private visit. Let's talk about that. If you want to talk about better edu, bring out the rest. The Minister of Internal Affairs, the Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila himself, every other person involved. Is this the way other ministries are run? Why are you making a scapegoat and then you're building all kind of narratives, all kind of false narratives around better edu? Fine girl, truly, but no, I'm not saying that. Fact of the matter is, don't make her a scapegoat. You know what I'm saying? Talk about the issues. It's a system. It's not just about better. What are the rest doing? Do they do things differently in their own ministries? Exactly how is Wike running his own, his own fiefdom? Because you've carved it up as fiefdoms. And that one, Orojide, that was busy partying in Granada. Yeah, question is, was it done with our money? Or do we even have any money?